Scholar is currently one of the most unique and powerful support characters in Nightreign, but he is also a bit complicated to use effectively. How hard or easy it gets for you depends merely on your playstyle and how much time you want to spend learning. What is important to know is that there are certain relic effects that are absolutely life-changing when it comes to becoming a great scholar. In this video I want to show you my favorite build for this character and explain how you can get the most out of it during an expedition of the DLC. In the first slot I am using the Note My Dear Successor relic, which is a bit difficult to obtain because it is the final reward you obtain after completing a Scholar's questline. The good part is that this item is a guaranteed relic, so you are not relying on RNG here at all. However, you need to have basic knowledge about how this character works in order to complete the multiple expeditions you must finish to progress this character's remembrance. This task might get a bit frustrating because a Scholar is designed to be a team support, so his damage output will not be as high as with other nightfarers unless you find the right relics. This means that even in solo mode is gonna be difficult, and if you want to do it in multiplayer, your effectiveness will rely almost entirely on how well you can play. Take that as a heads up so you can be fully prepared to engage with your journey to collect these relics. Note My Dear Successor features the following effects. Allies targeted by character skill gain boosted attack. This effect increases the attack power of your teammates if they are inside your character skill range in the exact moment you finish the analysis, regardless if you go for a debuff on enemy or a buff on yourself. The next one is Prevent Slowing of Character Skill Progress. This effect is awesome because it reduces the decay rate of your analysis meter. This way you can keep the progress of your observation longer, enabling a stronger buff or debuff with more consistency. If having these two fantastic effects in only one relic wasn't good enough, the third effect is Character Skill Cooldown Reduction on +3. As many of you guys already know, this one reduces the cooldown speed of your character skill, so you can have it available to use a lot faster. In the second slot I am using the Cleansing Tear, another guaranteed relic we can get in the Scholar's Remembrance quest. This one features one of the best effects for this character when it comes to dealing damage. Continuous damage inflicted on targets threaded by ultimate art. This one makes every target within the Scholar's ultimate ability range to take damage on time for 20 seconds, so you want to use this time to deal as much extra damage as possible to make the effect of having all enemies connected even stronger. A great tip is that if you are fighting a strong enemy with small mobs around, attack always the big guy. This way your damage on the threaded enemies will be even better. This relic also has improved affinity damage negation. This one is nothing exceptional, but having a bit of extra defense is always welcome. And the last effect we have here is defeating enemies feels more of the art gauge. I don't know if you have noticed, but I feel they increase the amount of mobs appearing before a night boss significantly. Just the Divine Beast Dancing Lion spawns an insane amount of shadow enemies before showing up. The same with the Twin Demon Princess and with the Curseblade Beast Warrior duo. So thanks to this effect, just by defeating this bunch of small enemies, it's very likely you will have your ulti ready for the main combat. Or if you prefer, you can use your ulti to defeat this bunch of enemies and to refresh your art gauge faster. Both strats are pretty useful depending on how you prefer approaching some fights. However, the most important effect in this relic is continuous damage on targets threaded by ultimate art. So if you want to roll your morgue to see if you can get some relics with this main effect and other useful effects like a small pouch in possession at the start of expedition or any consumable at the start of the expedition, that will be fine as well. And in the third slot I am using a random relic that features probably the most important effect for this character. Items confer effect to all nearby allies. Scholar's passive ability makes him capable of upgrading the consumables by using them with higher frequency. He can also carry 4 consumables per slot instead of the regular 2 limit for the other nightfarers. This means the more you use a consumable from one category, the stronger the rest of the consumables from that category will get. For instance, if I spam 6 fire pots on a boss fight, the pot category will be upgraded to level 3. So every pot in the game will now be stronger and they will feature a special effect. The fire pots have a fire AoE after the impact, the warm stones have a wider range and better healing, and the rest of the consumables will have an additional effect if you manage to take them to the level 3. So what you can do is drop in the food items to your Scholar so he can upgrade them and share the effect of these consumables with you. Imagine your full team having the damage negation of a level 3 boiled crab or the physical damage damage boost of a level 3 Exalted Flesh, or the fast stamina recovery of a level 3 Pickled Turtleneck. The potential this effect has to make your team completely busted is insane. In my opinion, this effect is a must-have for any scholar that is gonna play duo or 3-player expeditions. In this relic, I also have the effect that changes the default skill of my starting weapon to the Hoarfrost Stomp Ash of War, and physical attack of +2. These last two effects are extremely useful to make a scholar more self-sufficient in early scenarios, so you can be more useful to your team when clearing the starting locations. However, I understand this relic has been blessed with great RNG, so an amazing alternative is the Knight of the Fathom, the regular version. This one also features items confer effect to all nearby allies, with increased maximum HP, and Flask also heals allies. So using this one makes you even a better teammate. If you have time to roll some relics, try to get one with the Hoarfrost Stomp Ash of War or Chilling Mist, or even better, one with the starting armament inflicts frost, bleed or poison, but that is up to you. We are gonna be taking this setup into an entire expedition of the DLC in the Great Hollow map on a 3-player expedition with random people, so you can see these characters' true potential. In the next days I'm gonna bring you an alternative build for this character for solo mode. It's not that this character is bad in solo, it's just that he was designed to be a great support character. With that being said, let's jump straight into the run. As you already know, I am a solo player. I actually prefer to play solo most of the time, but this character is really designed to be played in teams. I am not saying it's completely bad in solo, but I think it's a character that was designed with the main purpose of playing with people, because the kit of this character is perfect to help allies. It is the main purpose of this character to debuff the enemy constantly, so your DPS characters can be dealing a lot of damage and doing their job basically. You just enable them to do that without major complications. So as you can see here, what we are doing is basically the story of every day, looking for the consumables, looking for the early kills to get some runes. And yeah, what I try to do here is using every consumable I can, because even though the build is not crafted to be a consumable only run or something like that, or I'm using the consumables at max as much as possible, that is not what we are doing right here. I use it as well as because it's a passive ability, you know, so it's better to get the most out of it. And as I have the items affect the allies as well, so I try to level up my consumables as much as possible. And I want you to pay attention to that. I saw that crystal since the first moment I was walking into the church, but somehow one of my teammates broke it before. Now here I was gonna go with them, but I decided to check this scarab. Honestly, I consider this to be a mistake of mine, because I spent a lot of time looking for whatever this scarab has. And I spent a little bit more time looking for the talisman that was dropped above a rock, and I was still looking for it. So this is a mistake from me, because I left my team a lot of time alone, just because I was looking for a talisman. That is not the best thing you can do. In any case, this was not so bad, because they were perfectly capable of defeating one of the early camps, which are very easy camps, honestly. The problem is not the early part. The problem gets when you are fighting stronger enemies. So now I keep looking for stuff, for consumables. I mark that shield for the recluse I have, but I just keep moving, trying to stay with them. So when it comes to passive effects for weapons, I always try to get the most damage negation possible for this character. Because this character, for instance, we have a recluse, and recluse can be even farther away from the enemies than I can. Because I have to be at a certain close distance of the enemies if I want to do the things effectively. I cannot be as far as a recluse can be. You can see it even here. Well, in this case it's not the best example, because I am using the Ash of War on my weapon. But once I start using the skill, you are gonna notice that what I like that I have to be closer than recluse in order to perform the debuffs effectively. Now, when it comes to the skill of this character, using the debuff to me is more important than using the buff. The course of action I like to take most of the time is going first with the Analyze, then with the ultimate if I have it available. In this case I didn't use the Analyze because these enemies are very easy to take down. So I really can use my DPS. It's not that bad for these early enemies. Now honestly, at this point, now that I have proc Frostbite and that my Recluse is dealing damage, I could have used the Analyze here, but as you can see, it is not completely necessary. However, what I like to do in further fights is taking the analyze, applying the debuff, then I use the ultimate, and once I have the skill again available again, then I like to apply a buff for myself, which is the stamina buff. And now in this build, I am featuring the effect that allows me to buff my allies. And even though that is great, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to do, because the range of the analyze is not the best. So you are gonna be kind of forced to be close to the enemy. So if I want to buff both of my teammates, they both have to be even closer than me, which in this case is a bit complicated considering that I have a recluse, which is gonna be always trying to be far from the enemy. It's not gonna be in front of the enemy as the wilder I have, or even like me, that I have to be close to the target. I think that is something they can improve about this character, because sometimes I feel like you really have to be close, really close to the target, so the analysis is performed with a decent speed. Because yeah, you can perform it at a further distance, but it takes a lot longer. So that is something not that optimal in my opinion. But that is something maybe related to playstyles as well. It may vary. So here, again, I don't think the analysis is necessary just yet, so I just go with the ultimate. Here I started using it, just apply the debuff completely, and I don't know if it paired with the ultimate of Wilder, but it does help to take less damage, you know? It really does help. Now I had some throwing pots, so I used them, and that is, let's say, the basic formula for this character so far. And yeah, when you try to do this in solo, it's a bit more complex because the benefit is less meaningful. It is not that it's bad, but the idea of applying a debuff on multiple targets or on a strong character, on a strong enemy I mean, is significantly more valuable when you're playing with your allies. And now that I have the relic that increases the attack power of my allies if they are in range when I use the skill, it's gonna be even better. So here we're just looking for the seal for this thing, so Recluse can open it and grab the resources she needs. I checked the relics she was using at the start of the expedition, and I'm pretty sure she has the Crystallian, one stack of the Crystallian effects. So in this case, I'm gonna be obtaining one staff with the effect. So I decide to pick it and drop it for her. And that is something you really want to do as in general in multiplayer, because sometimes you're not gonna get the things you need, but you might get the things one of your teammates need. So be sure to drop it if you can. It's gonna be really helpful. Now what I like to do in day one, and this is something very important, is that I like to go with the bosses or with the crystals. In this case I didn't notice, but my teammates broke a bunch of crystals that I didn't spot. So after defeating this fight, we already had available the Shifting Earth event. We have completed the crystal breaking stuff, so we got access to one of the towers. And that is something I strongly recommend you to do. In this case, my teammates were the ones aware of what of where the crystals were. Not completely aware. It's not like they knew, but they checked some places to see if they were crystals there. And yeah, we got the Shifting Earth event done in the day one. And I really consider this to be a great strategy, because this way you can progress in one of the towers as much as possible, and in the next day you can complete it, or if you prefer, you just go to the other tower and complete it fully. But it's a good strategy. Now here I'm trying to make usage of this chime. But I really didn't, I was not impressed of the damage, so I didn't kept using it. And for a moment I thought it was not, I wasn't capable of upgrading it. But later in the expedition I realized that I was capable of upgrading it. So maybe in another run I will try to take this item to the max level. Now here, as you can see, every time I have the chance to use the skill, I use it. And that is something you really have to do with this character. Because you can deal some damage with the status effects. For instance, I am dealing it with the frostbite, with my frostbite, the starting weapon. But but the best you can do is using your your ability. Now here we have another crystal, and this way we are gonna be perfectly capable of completing the event. I actually don't remember if this was the run, but maybe it was. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, this is the run. Yeah, we completed the event in seconds, man. I'm gonna give the credit to the real people that did it, and it was my teammates. But it's something that you wanna do, especially if you play with friends. In this case, I was playing with random people without communication, no Discord, no voice comms. So I was trying to be a good teammate, basically. And as I don't know the map as much as many people, I kind of know it decently well. I know what is what are the locations for some bosses, what are the things I wanna explore. But when it comes to the crystals and the common locations of crystals, I only know a few. So this achievement of completing the Shifting Earth event in the day one is of them, of my teammates. It's awesome. But yeah, as I noticed, they are really experienced players, because I have to say that I am being a good support for this team, but this team is absolutely insane as well. They know what they are playing, they know how to play their characters, so that helps a lot. They are not like learning. They already know what they are doing with their characters. So I am me learning and trying to figure out how to be helpful to them might actually make me look a little stupid here. So one of them is down. My priority is reviving him, because it's a DPS and I am just a support character. So it's very important to keep your allies alive, and it's even more important to not be an annoyance to your team. If I die multiple times here, I'm gonna make their lives a lot harder, and I have no need to be too close to the enemy, because my job is doing what I am doing right now, trying to debuff the enemy so they don't take damage while they engage with them. And another fight goes successful. As you can see, the job of this guy is just debuffing or buffing as much as possible. I think already a couple of times I have buffed my teammates, but this effect will be better if you play in coordination with your friends, because you can tell them stay close to the enemy while I am using this thing, and I buff them. I buff the recluse right there, so that's awesome, bro. This way you can make the things even easier for your team, and you can help with the status effects. With the frostbite, you can go with the bleed. So let's say that your damage is like the auxiliary damage. Imagine that you are the bleed on a weapon that doesn't have bleed by default. You know, you are like extra damage. You know, and you provide that comfortable scenario, or that comfortable situation for your team to fight with more confidence. I'm not sure if the enemies deal more damage in multiplayer. I think they do, but I am not quite sure of that. In any case, the enemies deal a lot of damage. That is something we know, from day one of Nightreign. So debuff them, it's always very important. Here we know that we are gonna get that hippo, and I notice that my guy is engaging with that hippo already, so I go to help him. And I noticed something important here. I was trying to analyze the hippo, but the tree was in front of me. So if something is in front of your character, you won't be able to perform the analyze properly. Now here I see that I have a weapon that says improve spellcasting speed. So I'm gonna drop him for recluse, because the other effect I have available is improve affinity attack power. But I don't really want to keep the improve affinity attack power and prevent recluse from having that thrusting sword, because it is not gonna it's not gonna be worth having more affinity damaging my character, because I don't have any strength on affinities. You know, my damage is gonna be purely physical, and it's not gonna be that high. The things that make this character strong are the status effects. So you can go with poison, frostbite, bleed, but your physical damage, like base, is not gonna be insane. So that's why frost, poison, and bleed are kind of your best options, because they are HP percentage based, especially bleed and frost. So those status effects are great. In this case, I think bleed would have been better, because with bleed I wouldn't interrupt or with bleed I will be dealing more damage, and the thing with the frostbite is that if your teammates use fire damage, the frostbite effect will be gone. So that is what happened here a bunch of times. I proc frostbite on the enemy, but my wilder removed the effect with fire. Some people might say this is good because this way you can keep proccing the frostbite, but the thing is that it's not that easy to proc the effect again. So the enemies will gain resistance to the status effect. So the best when it comes to frostbite is using the debuff that this effect grants. So there I used my ultimate, but I think that was not the wisest way to use the ulti, because I didn't recover much from the enemies we defeat. It is good sometimes, but in this case it wasn't that good. Now what I am doing here is applying the debuff to make them weaker when it comes to the damage they deal. This way we can keep approaching on them and dealing damage. Now as soon as I have the skill ready, I try to use it again, because this way we can be useful for the team, you know. Now something that is happening to me is that I believe that the thing is you have to hold it, and the skill is not you don't have to hold it, you just have to press it, and if you need to roll, you just press your roll button and you're gonna be fine. But I don't know why I feel like I have to hold it, and that makes me like pop my skill and getting out of it like crazy. But step by step I'm getting better at it, you know. Like right now I'm feeling capable of doing something here because my team is very good as well. But believe me that completing the questline of this character was really tough for me. Now that was a waste of the ulti as well, because the enemies were already dead and I used it. So that is a mistake of mine, of course. Now here is the interesting thing. We know that we have the course gone. So what we want to do now is just go into the towers, because the towers will grant the best rewards and the bosses are on top of each other. So that is the best you can do. And the only reason I don't understand yet is why the towers are in both sides of the map and two separated. That makes the traveling and the target of completing both towers a bit more complicated. I read multiple comments of people saying that they have completed both towers on one single expedition. I actually admire that, because I haven't done that even in solo with the Undertaker, which is a completely broken character. So I would really like to see how is that possible, because it's difficult. As I told you, this team is insane. This team is dealing a lot of damage. They know what they are doing, and we only managed to complete one tower. So it is complex. Completing both towers in one expedition, it seems like kind of complicated. So here the same story. The first thing we want to do here, as we don't have ulti, is analyze the target and debuff him. In this case I had enough time to actually use the full combo, the full analyze, so I do that. But when you don't have enough time, it's just with more than the half you should be fine to apply the +2 debuff, you know, because if you do it too early, the debuff won't be as strong. Now here I'm trying to deal as much damage as I can. I'm trying to proc frost, but as soon as I proc it, they remove it, and it's not their fault, of course. It's just that we don't have any communication nor coordination. So what we are doing is just basically trying our best. Here I also made a mistake, and is that I took the crit hit of my wilder, but it was not intentional. I was just trying to deal some cheap damage. But yeah, as you can see, we are trying our best to do something for the team, and that is what you want to do. Of course, if you play with your friends, you can have more coordination and buff them while you debuff the enemy. So that is pretty dope. And they are so good that it gets to the point that we just spam attacks, you know, and that is something I really enjoy of playing in 3-player mode. I really don't play in this mode a lot because I am not used to this type of playstyle, and sometimes I feel like it's very difficult to coordinate with people that you can't speak or say anything clearly. You just can ping or spam ping, but that is all you got in communication. So now we go for the next boss fight, and here I know that I have explained more or less the basics of this character as much as possible. That is, of course, I am not the best to explain. If you want to watch a good guide on this character, watch the Bro Fates guide. It's an absolute banger. It's an amazing guide. It is very deep. So most of the learning that I'm sharing with you right now, I got it from that guide and from practicing this character, because as much as you watch one video, you really need to practice, because it's a different playstyle. As you know, if you know my videos, I am the type of guy that goes stupid and against the enemies, you know? High damage with status effects, high damage with the stupid characters like Rider, Undertaker, Wilder, Executor, Iron Eye, you know? That is the type of playstyle I've been engaging with for most of the time. But with this character, you have to be more like smart. You have to be smarter. You have to know what you're doing, try to do the best for your team. So it does really takes a little bit of practice. I'm gonna be dropping a solo video soon, because this character has the best arcane scaling in the game. So you can proc the status effects really fast and really easily with this character, despite we don't have the best dexterity or the best scaling on other stats. And the thing is that not a lot of weapons scale with arcane. Only the Ripple Axe is the one that scales with arcane, but it's nothing like really special, you know. So here, as soon as I have it available, I try to go for the debuff, you know. So if you think about it, what you are doing with the debuff is increasing the chances of surviving against a strong enemy, and that helps a lot during a complicated expedition against a complicated enemy. And now at this point we are just going wild. I didn't find anything cool for me there, so I dropped one for Recluse. I don't know if she actually grabbed it or not, but that is something you wanna do. I think that is a good way to help your team. Because sometimes I've seen at the end of the expedition that one of my teammates had something useful for me, or I had something useful for my teammates. In this case, I have the jump talisman and the claw talisman, and my teammate is running a dual twin blade build. So I could have dropped that talisman for him, but it's not like I didn't want to drop it for him. I just was completely focused on doing my job as good as possible, that I didn't do it. Now this is one of the most successful usages I have had of the skill, because I scanned the 3 enemies and I debuffed the 3 of them. So that really helps me. Now we use the ulti and we use the analyze again. Yeah, that is the formula with this character. It is interesting, you know. It's like you fight by observing. It's something something fun, to be honest. Now I always miss that jump attack of the tree sentinel. Is really a tricky timing. But I want you to see here how, despite we are not coordinated, we are doing quite a good job, man. So now analyze again. And in this case, I thought it was gonna explode, so I tried to use the bubble. And that is something I want to talk about right now, why I'm not using the bubble a lot. Because I find the debuff more useful, and the bubble takes a lot, and as the enemy is not always watching you, so it's a bit more difficult to use the parry bubble in multiplayer. And honestly, the explosion doesn't deal a lot of damage. It's just not that great, in my opinion. That is just my opinion. Maybe you find a great usage for the parry bubble, but in my opinion, especially in multiplayer, is not that useful. Maybe in solo, I think it's a little bit more useful, especially to counter one attack that you struggle to dodge, an AoE attack that the enemy does or something like that. For those instances, the bubble is really good. You just have to time it properly. But in multiplayer, I don't think it's that useful. I think it's just better to go with the 3/4 to get the double stamina buff, or to the 3/4 to get the double stamina, the double debuff. You can go fully with the debuff that is gonna apply a 1 instance damage vulnerability for the enemy, but it requires coordination as well, because here I can analyze an enemy completely, and we can just use a sword swing, for instance, and yeah, that is not like the best, you know. And I don't know if we died here once. I think we did, to the hippo. Yeah, maybe now we are going to that city, to the hippo. There is a hippo in the middle of that place, so we are going there. And this is where you can notice my own experience. I thought I was going to the wrong way, but I find this path a little bit easier, and it is kind of the same, you know. I arrived to the place almost at the same time than my team, so it is about comparing it. They are already fighting some enemies, so maybe their path is a bit faster. So that is a question of preferences, I think. Yeah, but yeah, their path seems to be a bit faster. But I don't know if this have happened to you guys, but a lot of times I fall off the map because I dropped with too much confidence. So now pots, I try to upgrade my pots. Now I have the pot level 3, and that is good. Now later you will notice that I am starting getting a lot of pots from my teammates, but I am not preserving the pots because I have a higher priority here. Besides, I am actually working with the analyze to weaken, to make the enemies weaker. What I am trying to get, and I haven't gotten any item like that yet, is the consumable items like the boiled crabs, the shrimps, and the exalted flesh, or the pickled turtlenecks, to share that effect with my teammates. That is one of the best things you can do in this in multiplayer, because you can upgrade those items. So those items are gonna be significantly stronger on you than in any other character. So if they drop those items to you, you just eat them and you just use it with your team. You use all those items with your team, and you're gonna grant the effect of a level 3 boiled crab on the 3 of you guys. So it's gonna be really, really busted. Now in this case, the main issue is that we don't have comms. So even if I want to tell them like, hey guys, if you have any boiled crabs, you can drop it for me, I upgrade them, and we work with it, you know. We don't have that here. So it's part of the experience, I guess. It's part of the cool experience of Nightreign, playing with people that you don't know and just doing the best you can. And I really think that we as a team did great. I'm gonna give all the credit to my team because they were insanely good on their role. They were dealing a lot of damage. They were taking the fights while I was able to weaken the enemies for them. So it was a great coordination despite we didn't have any type of comms. But despite we didn't have that, they were trying to help me by dropping me the consumables. This way I will help a little bit more with the DPS against certain enemies. But there is another reason why I didn't decide to take these pots, and it's because the enemy we are gonna be fighting in the day to night, where it is gonna be the Demon Prince, the second phase of the Demon Prince. So taking fire damage items into a fire strong enemy is not like the wisest idea. So I tried to stay with the pickled turtlenecks, looking for boiled crabs and everything that could any item that I can share with my team. That is the things that I am looking for in this run as much as possible. So this way we are using everything we can. We are using the analyze skill as much as possible. We are using the consumables shared with our team. We are doing everything. Even these guys just defeated an enemy without even struggling, dude. It was awesome. I tried to use something here and they got this guy already. So they were an insane team. Now here I am starting to collect the items we need. And believe me, the boiled crabs are gonna save the life of your team as you have no idea, especially if you upgrade them to level 2 or 3 and you share them with your team. You're gonna be tanky. You're gonna be really tanky even against the final boss, dude. It's a really cool passive ability. And yeah, so this way, despite we are not using the pots to deal damage, we are actually providing something for our team that is buffs for all of them without the need that they carry them, you know? So they can carry any other thing or even more buffs if they want, you know? So it's pretty cool. Now, in this case, we don't have a flask also heal allies. But if one of your teammates has it, that is gonna be awesome as well. And instead of having the Ash of War that I have at the start, you wanna go with the Knight of the Phantom and use the increased maximum HP relic with the items affect allies as well, and the other effect it has is Flask also heals allies. You're gonna be the ultimate teammate, dude. You're gonna be the greatest teammate they will ever have, bro. Because you're gonna provide the buffs for the enemies. You're gonna provide the heal for them. So yeah, that relic is also pretty good. In this case, I just didn't want to be like completely weak at the start. That's why I'm using the Horfrost Stomp Ash of War relic. But it is not necessary, especially if you have good DPS like in this case. I will say that the main DPS is the Recluse. The Wilder is like a mid tank DPS, and I am just the support. I'm just bringing the comfort for them basically. My damage is not that high. But that is the purpose of this character, is dealing damage as in passive forms, you know? Now, there is an alternative way to make this character a DPS, but that way I will take him in solo. Because if you go to multiplayer with a DPS scholar, your teammate will expect you to support them, and if you are not prepared to support them with a good relic combo, then you're gonna become a really difficult thing for your team. Now, despite we have some damage negation, I took the half of my HP out to that enemy attack, man. So here I'm trying to approach it safer. I'm trying to do that with the chime, the bell. I don't know what it is. But as you can see, my teams are dealing some wild damage, and this is my first mistake, major mistake, where I died. And they revive. I don't even know how they revived me, but they did, bro. And that was really fast. So the thing you wanna do here is that you wanna always use the skill and try to be safe. You don't wanna do what I am doing. I'm going wild here by using this thing so close. But this guy got me, bro. These guys just are there for me, bro. That is insane. So now here I am between two things, the increased maximum HP or the periodical giant glint blades. And as I am already, like, I have a decent amount of HP, I decided to go with the glint blades. But I think it was not my best decision. I think having more HP is always better in multiplayer. So now here we are in the day 3. With a successful expedition of a character, we are just getting used to it. But as you can see now, we have the boiled crabs at level 3. I think the exalted flesh is also at level 3, so that is awesome. And I have the bell at level 2. But I'm not gonna use it because we are going against the balancers. So it's better to use any other thing. In this case, I'm gonna take the pots that are in level 3. They might help to at least to take down one of the balancers, and that should help. So the interesting thing here is that I have the boiled crabs on level... Oh, no. I was confused. The pots is what I have in level 3. So I have to keep using the crabs and the food in order to boost the power of those items. And the reason why they are not in the level 3 yet is because I didn't find a lot of them at the start of the expedition nor during the day 1. It was at the end of day 2 that I started to find some of these items. But if you have the possibility of fighting these items, do it. Now that I think about it, instead of buying like pots from the merchant, buy the pickled turtle legs. You can buy as much of them as you can, and they are gonna be of the same category of the boiled crabs and the exalted flesh. So by using multiple pickled turtle legs, you can boost your teammate by a lot with the boiled crabs and with the exalted flesh. So that's gonna be massive, guys. Now we're just waiting for my teammates to finish with the Night Lord. And that is gonna be my explanation of this character, my thought process when playing with this character in multiplayer. And as you can see, I try to stay close to them to apply every buff possible on them. So I would have liked to talk to them so they know that I had many ways to buff them, but I did my best. Now they say that this character, well, not the developers, but people always thought that this character was designed to fight the balancers, because you can analyze all of them and kind of destroy them. But it's actually quite complicated to do that, man. They are pretty aggressive even if you are like playing passive. So there I'm gonna try to help my teammate. And here I could have used the analyze, but yeah, I realized too late, man. So she's out before I did something, you know. So as you saw, the main part was done by my teammates. Now where I'm gonna come handy for them is when I have my ulti ready and I can like deal damage on all of them simultaneously. Now I want you to see this. We are extremely powerful here. We're gonna take the big hit of the explosion, and it's gonna take only a quarter of our HP, bro. It is absolutely insane. We are tanks basically, guys. Things that we are sharing the effect of the boiled crabs, man. It is actually good. Now I don't know if, for instance, if I use the boiled crab and my teammate use another boiled crab, will those effects stack? I would really like you guys if you can enlighten me in that aspect, because that will be even more broken. For instance, I use the boiled crab, I use any other buff that I can share with my team, I mean, and they use their own buffs. I'm pretty sure if they can stack. I'm pretty sure they can stack, and that should be massive. Now I have the ulti, so I'm gonna be dealing damage on all of them. As long as they are in range, I should be dealing damage on all of them. So now, as you can see, we are about to destroy this boss fight. So here it goes. The thing with this effect is that they have to be close to you, and as at this point we were already too spread, I actually wasn't able to share the effect completely with them. But in any case, it actually is worth using it, you know. So now I want you to see the damage the Recluse is doing with that spell, bro. It's absolutely insane. That's why I'm saying that this team was just busted, man. Now we're gonna take that explosion, but check that out. We got the explosion, and there is no problem, dude. Because we are fine, bro. Now, I don't know from which item I am getting the extra HP. I think it's because of the level 3 of the boiled crab. Or one item I'm using that is granting me more HP. So, absolutely insane. An absolute banger of character. It is a great character. An absolute great team. Shout out to Platypus and to C Merit Hill L. Great players. So, congratulations, guys. You are amazing players. And that was the run, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video. And GG's.